The CBDT has issued a circular clarifying the provisions of Section 194Q on the deduction of tax at source on goods. This is a new area where TDS has applied. In fact, the entire regime of TDS was largely confined to issues relating to services. For the first time now that goods transactions are also being subjected to TDS, I think this clarification was much needed. A lot of the points in the clarifications are quite obvious, and I think, but it's still good that the clarification has been issued. Some issues I think are still contentious, and there may be still a debate on whether or not this clarification is correct. It may also lead to litigation in some cases. And let's see what all has the board clarified through the circular and see if there are any open issues on that. First clarification is in relation to securities or commodities which are traded on a exchange or a stock exchange or a commodities exchange. There, I think, yes, the clarification is good to say that the TDS provision does not apply there. And securities anyway were on are a different genre, not goods. They are treated separately under different laws, and I think it's the correct clarification. Second is on electricity trading and trading of energy saving certificates, etc. on power exchanges. Again, while electricity is goods, and Supreme Court has said that it is goods in the context of VAT, but I think this is again an important clarification because this could have led to disputes. The department could have claimed at a later stage that if TDS is not being deducted on the electricity trading transactions, then it is a violation of 194Q. So good that the board has clarified this. Then how to construe the threshold of 50 lakhs because that's a threshold for the entire year, and this provision comes into play only in the middle of the year, not from 1st of April. Board has clarified that the 50 lakhs will apply for this entire year, irrespective of the fact that the provision does not apply for the full year. That's a good clarification again. Then the cutoff date clarification is also a very important clarification where the board has clarified that if either of the two triggers, that is credit or payment, if it occurs prior to 1st of July 2021, then there is no requirement. So even if you have if you're making the payment right now, but the transaction was recorded in the books earlier, prior to the 1st of July 2021, then there's no TDS requirement. Another important clarification is in relation to GST exclusion, that if the transaction involves GST, then it should not, that amount of GST should not be part of the transaction on which, part of the value on which TDS is deducted. Then there's a very obvious clarification that is TDS applicable on advances. The answer was always going to be yes, it will be, because once the regime says that TDS is to be deducted on payment or credit, whichever is earlier. So even if you've received an advance, which is in the form of a payment, even if you have not recorded the transaction of purchase and sale in your books, it will be leviable. Another clarification, which I don't personally think is a good clarification, is on purchase returns. To say that if there is a purchase return and you've already deducted the transaction, then you can adjust the TDS in a subsequent transaction is not good enough according to me, because this, I think, clarification contemplates that there will be a regularity of transaction in each and every case. If there is, then there is no complication. If you have deducted TDS on a particular transaction and there is a purchase return, next transaction you don't have to deduct the TDS again, you can make an adjustment. But what if there is a large transaction in excess of 50 lakhs and there is a purchase return and there is no subsequent transaction and the contract is rescinded? In such case, there should be a refund. Where is the question of adjustment? You can't, and because if there is no regularity of transaction between the buyer and seller, and the buyer has already deducted the tax, the seller will take the credit, but the buyer will not get anything back. So there must be a provision to deal with situations like that. Then the next clarification again could be a little contentious on non-residents. While non-resident transactions are not liable to TDS, but if there is a PE involvement, then there will be a requirement. Now, the issue of PE is a very litigative issue, and oftentimes there are disputes as to the existence of a PE or not. In the case that an SSE believes that the seller does not have a PE in India, what does he do? Tomorrow the department comes back and says that there is a PE. Then again, all those disputes will start that he ought not have assumed that there is no PE. So this is again going to be a litigative issue going forward. And one has to be careful in applying this clarification to say whether or not TDS will be deductible. Then there are some clarifications on exempted incomes to say that if the seller's income is totally exempted, then there will be no TDS. Again, a good clarification. Another important clarification is in relation to the year of incorporation. If it's the first year of the entity, then whether or not this TDS provision will apply had to be necessarily clarified, because the applicability of the provision is in relation to previous year's turnover. In the first year of incorporation, the entity will have zero turnover in the previous year, and it's good that the board has clarified that the TDS provision will not apply if this entity is in its first year. The 10 crore applicability will not be satisfied in this case, and therefore there is no need for TDS compliances to be made by such an entity. The next extremely important clarifications are in relation to e-commerce transactions. There, it's been now categorically clarified that there should be no duplication of TDS applicability. If TDS has already been applied by treating it under making a deduction under 194O, then there is no need for another deduction under 194Q. Similarly, if the transaction has been subjected to TCS under 206C, then again TDS requirement should not apply. These are extremely important because if both these provisions were to apply simultaneously, then the transactions in relation to e-commerce would have become extremely expensive for the buyers and sellers, and it would not make sense at all. As it is, they are also subjected to TCS under indirect taxes, and multiplicity of compliances would make these transactions extremely difficult. So it's a very important clarification from the end of the e-commerce industry, and I'm glad that the board has done it. Thank you.